All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Mark.
And I'm Russ. And this is a spirited endeavor.
It really is. All right, well, today we're going to put the spirited piece of this to the test.
Yes, we are.
Because we are not drinking scotches tonight.
That's right. And these are going to be fun.
These are going to be really, really fun. We're so excited about this. So what we've got on tap tonight is we've got a Japanese single malt.
Yep.
And then we also have an American whiskey. And what's really cool about this is that it was aged in Islay barrels, and both of these things have peat in them.
Yep.
They're both infused with peat.
But they're not held to any of the standards that Scotland requires, so that gives them some freedom that you don't get with Scotch.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So the Japanese whiskey that we're drinking tonight is the Matsui, and it's a single malt Japanese whiskey. It's peated. It's by the I've been practicing this and I'm blowing it. Kurayoshi distillery in Japan.
Easy for you to say.
Apparently not. So, and then the American whiskey that we're trying tonight is the Broken Barrel whiskey. And let me show this to you guys.
Yeah, these are cool.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is a really cool barrel. This one is made completely in Indiana.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so our Indiana folks, awesome. All right, and here's the Japanese. The wave on it is the signature.
Now, just to point something out real quick, neither one of these are color added.
Nope.
And this one is aged 1 year.
1 year.
1 year, and you can see the color on that. Now, again, that's the difference between our climate and what you get elsewhere.
Absolutely, and the Japanese, this one is a no age statement. Mm-hmm. But honestly, I have no idea how long it's been aged.
It's going to be a really interesting night. I mean, the American one, I expect that one to be just a smack in the face as far as just the alcohol is concerned, but I bet the flavors are stunning.
Absolutely, and the Japanese, I'm really expecting that one to be floral, and
I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's going to have a little citrus notes. The peat on that is going to, the smoke on it is probably not going to be quite as in your face.
That's my thinking.
All right. So let me give you the specs on the Matsui, the single malted whiskey preview, and they also do whiskey without the E.
So really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So this single malt distilled from heavenly peated barley at the Kurayoshi distillery is matured in ex-bourbon barrels and then transferred to bourbon barrels. It's unchill filtered and natural color. It's 48% ABV, so that's 96 proof. Its origin is Japan, and it's about $100 a bottle. Varies, a little bit, depending on where you go. A peated whiskey from the Kurayoshi distillery released as part of the Matsui series and dubbed the Peated. It's pot distilled and then matured in white oak barrel bourbon casks and before bottling at 48% ABV. The bottle is adorned with the Katsushika
I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Pardon me. I'm murdering the Japanese
I'd
people.
probably be worse.
Yeah, they're probably all upset me. The Great Wave chosen to represent the spirit and force of the whiskey within. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, so the nose on it is loads of fresh and toasty malted cereal aromas, supported by earthy peat and swirls of smoke and a touch of vanilla oak.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the palate on it is going to be toasty oak, brown sugar, creamy vanilla.
Okay.
Touch of orchard fruit, they're saying, and enveloped in an ashy smoke. So this one's going to be a smoke bomb for us. The finished peat smoke and fresh apple.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I hope we get that citrus aspect too.
I really do.
That's what I would expect from a Japanese whiskey. I have nothing to base that on, but somehow that's just what comes to mind.
This is our first Japanese whiskey.
Yeah. And sounds like we picked a hell of a first one.
Absolutely. Now, when I was at the liquor store today, our friends over at Turtle Creek, and I was there with one of the clerks, and we were talking about these Japanese whiskeys. There's a few out there, and I ended up buying two, and one will appear later on because it's a 12-year aged Japanese whiskey, but it's not a single malt; it's blend. And then they actually had a whiskey that was actually made out of rice.
That would be
It was a rice whiskey. So that's also going to be coming up. So I'm really excited. Well, I'm really excited. So this one we're going to try this one tonight, and this one just seemed to be something that was really akin to more familiar notes that we've tried with a lot of Scotch.
Just to see somebody else's spin on it, I think is going to be really interesting, especially with our experience with peated whiskeys. Just to see what it does in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, we're gonna get into this one. All right.
And I've looked at the Japanese whiskeys. Most of what I find in my area are blends. So I don't know if they're like Scotland, where that's most of what they produce. But their blends seem to be very, very popular.
Okay. All right. So that's a very nice like honey lemon color.
It is a lighter color, which you expect for something that's natural color.
And not aged in sherry casks. In sherry casks,
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
Nice cling to the glass, good oils, goes with the non-chill filtering, and probably the youth.
Yeah, I have no idea how old. This has no age statement, so I have no idea. Oh wow!
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so
That is so different.
it really
That's
is.
like no other Isla. That's like no other Isla I've had.
I'm trying to find words to describe this.
Yeah, that is so far outside of what we've experienced so far. Okay, so first I'll say not getting any burn on the nostrils,
No.
which is kind of surprising to me, given that it's a non-age statement.
What I'm not picking up in that is like any vanilla notes.
No.
I'm not picking up any caramel, anything like that. It's almost perfumey.
It is very perfumey.
It's very perfumey.
It's floral, no doubt about it.
Yep.
Not unpleasantly so, but very different.
Yeah, but it's got something really, really interesting going on in there. It's almost a little medicinal.
It's not the typical peat aroma nose that you expect. It's
I'm having a hard time describing this.
yeah, that is so outside my wheelhouse.
You know, actually, you know what? It reminds me of like new leather.
Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. It's like walking into Wilson.
Like walking into a leather store. Yeah,
Yep. You're absolutely right.
I'm getting
You know
that.
what it is? That like mink oil.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
That's
Okay.
that's really interesting. It's so different than anything else that I've ever gotten the nose from.
It's not dark. It's not a real heavy nose. I wouldn't call it light and floral, but it is a lighter compared to a lot of the Islas. The Islas are like real in your face, real heavy and dark. This one's not really in that direction. But yeah,
Okay,
you're absolutely right about
All right,
that.
I gotta try this. Okay, right up front, I got a little sweetness,
Yeah.
a little alcohol burn on the back.
Yeah, the youth comes through. There's no doubt. I would say this is probably like a 5-year, maybe.
Yeah, I would. I don't think it's anything close to like an 8 or a 10.
No.
Yeah, it's really, really
Not
interesting.
It's sweet. There's no doubt about that. There is a nice sweetness to this.
And it really does have a nice peaty oakiness throughout the whole thing. You get smoke on the back end, like a really, really pleasant smoke.
It doesn't have that. There isn't as much oak spice as what I was expecting. It's pleasant. I mean, there's some there. There's no doubt about it. But it's not
Wow, that's
Not
twice it's got me.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh, the alcohol is definitely
The alcohol
forward
is
on it.
definitely there. You're definitely getting that alcohol
Yeah.
vapors to it. I'm picking up that leather taste. It's almost a little leathery.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What did they say here? Yeah, earthy, peat, swirls of smoke. Yeah.
Those are all accurate, I would
yeah,
say.
I would say so.
I'm definitely getting a little bit of what they call a vanilla oak.
Yeah, I'm getting it on the back end.
Yeah.
It's that a little bit of vanilla. I'm not really getting that apple that they described.
No, I'm not seeing that at all.
Yeah, this isn't fruity at all.
Well, and the funny thing is as soon as you mentioned the leather, at that point, that's like the one thing keeps coming to mind. I'm drinking mink oil.
Yeah, it's like tanned leather.
Yeah.
It really has that that note to it. It's really, really good.
I like it though.
Yeah, that earthiness and that peatiness is all the way through. Definitely more on the mid palate and heading into the into the finish.
Agreed. It's, being peated, first thing I think of when somebody's talking peated is Islay. Which, of course, they're not the only ones that do peated whiskey, but it's the one that I have the most experience with, and this is unlike any Islay I've had.
I'm going to put a drop of water in.
I was just thinking the same thing.
All right.
And I had a small critter fly into this one, and just to let you know, it will in fact kill bugs, like immediately. I'm still drinking. Just saying.
Well, you can always grab them, have them spit it out.
Yeah, little bastard,
Little bastard.
stealing. So change the nose.
Yeah,
Knocked
knocked it back, but I think it brought in more of that leather smell.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as well.
Yeah. Now it's really pronounced.
Yeah. That is interesting. I've never had anything quite like that before.
Yeah, it is very different.
Again, it's not real oaky. I was expecting more oak influence on this one than what we're getting.
I'm wondering if it's the peat, because we don't know where the peat came from, but it is definitely not Scottish peat.
No, it's not Isla peat anyhow, because you don't get that heather or any of the floral that you would typically expect. And I'm curious about that myself. What's their source for the peat?
Yeah, it's completely different than anything else we've ever tried.
Yeah, I agree. This is one that I appreciate it for it being unique, and it's something I would certainly go back to. I do enjoy it. I wear leather boots all the time. I use mink oil all the time, so it's not a smell that's foreign to me, and I don't dislike it. So that's not off-putting for me. I can see where somebody else perhaps might find it off-putting. But this is one that has my curiosity. I'd probably go back to this.
I think we're gonna have to revisit this. We're gonna have to revisit it, after now that we're past the neck pour.
Yeah.
Let's let it age for just a little bit, and then let's come back to it in a few months and see what we got.
Mm-hmm. It's not super oily either. I mean, it's not thin on the palate, not overly thin, but it's not especially oily either.
Man, and that alcohol burn just gets me.
Yeah, there is
It's gotten me 3 times now.
Well, it catches you right on the back.
Right on the uvula.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a spot that's guaranteed to get you every time.
All right. You know what? I'm not even gonna attempt to rate this one.
I wouldn't at this point.
I don't think we can. I don't think we've spent enough time with it.
This we'll definitely have to come back to this one. This is one to kind of figure out.
It has my curiosity. That
Yeah.
is for sure. This is one that it's gonna take some time to figure this one out.
Again, I would drink this. I'd have this at home. I don't know. I don't have enough experience to say if I'd buy another bottle or something like that, but I am curious enough to where I'd want to sip that on a regular basis just to kind of get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the age does to that.
Just some time with a little bit of oxygen in that bottle, I bet makes a difference.
Yeah.
It's stout though.
It really is.
Okay, bye, bud.
All right. Okay, so the next one up is the Broken Barrel Whiskey Oak Series, the Isle of Peat American. So this one is a blend of 1-year-old Indiana wheat, 54.5% whiskey, and 1-year-old single malt whiskey, 45.5%. Also from Indiana. Was matured with hand-broken charred oak staves from the Islay Scotch barrels. So this is sort of a reverse Scotch.
Oh yeah.
That
is funny.
Yeah, it really is. So according to the press materials, the staves were submerged in a blend and aged for at least 30 days. This was the expression. This expression was bottled at 110 proof. So this is 55% alcohol by volume. This is going to be stout.
That's going to be a kick in the face.
Yep. The distillery is Infused Spirits, and it was I paid about $40 for this bottle. And the Isle of Peat bottling from Broken Whiskey Barrel Company, Infused Spirits, is one of the 3 releases in the Single Oak series. The whiskey is a blend of American wheat whiskey and American single malt whiskey, each at least 1 year old. After blending, the whiskey is further matured in formerly peat whiskey oak staves from Islay, and there's about 6,600 bottles of this produced.
So just to think about these staves for a minute, they were over here, they were used in bourbon. They were then sent over to Scotland, where they were used in Islay to age Scotch there, and then sent back here.
Yes, correct.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. So it's, I mean, this is gonna. I think this is gonna be a real experience here.
No doubt.
Okay, so the nose is stewed strawberries, caramel, oak, and grain. The palate is a touch of honey. The taste is taken over by a blast of heat in the throat, warming all the way down. The finish is lingering smoke, toasted spices, and sharp.
Yeah, 55% ABV in a 1 year age statement. I think that's
absolutely.
Yeah, there's going to be some heat.
Yeah, and this there was so I got a little bit of the story behind this. Okay, it all began in a garage, as most great things do. In 2012, young and creative founder Seth Benheim decided the world was desperate for a need of spirit that offered a natural and simple process that anyone could understand. So after experiencing the magic of infused spirits while on vacation, he realized the market lacked such product. So naturally he decided that he was going to create it, and he did. So 1 year and a few hundred samples of vodka infused with only natural and real ingredients later, Seth launched Infused Spirits. 3 months later, he became the youngest brand over to ever win Best in Show and double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty impressive. He has infused, continued to work tirelessly and passionately to ensure that every bottle of infused spirits, whether vodka, whiskey, or bitters, is smooth, balanced, and bursting with character and flavor.
Interesting.
So yeah, he's an up and comer in the industry. Wow. And
cool.
American. The brewery's in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And
it sounds like he's got. I mean, he's done more than what we see here. Obviously, they've been involved in a couple of things, like you said, the infused vodka. So interesting. I'll be curious to get his take on this.
Yeah, for sure. So again, we're gonna give this one a whirl here.
Look at the color on that. Holy crap. This is probably one of the darker ones I've seen that has not been a sherry cask.
And again, it's a natural color and non-chill filter.
Yeah.
So this is all natural, folks.
Excuse me.
That is just gorgeous.
Yeah, that's
That may be the darkest whiskey we've tried.
yeah. With the sherry bombs, you get a reddish tint to it. This is like straight up brown.
Yeah, that is like caramel. That is like a brown caramel, yeah, it's gorgeous.
Ooh,
Wow.
I like that. Holy cow!
All right, how do we describe this? Because
Okay, so definitely getting the sweeter notes that you would typically expect, the vanillas and that sort of thing, almost like a butterscotch. But there's something a little different.
yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely getting that graininess, and when they said cereals,
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a
Really, the nose isn't bad with the alcohol, though.
no, my God, this is really really smooth. This is really just lingering in the nose.
We're going
It's
to
just-
regret saying that in a minute.
I think so.
But on the
I mean,
nose,
at
yeah, I
50% ABV. Oh, geez,
Yeah, but no, on the nose, it's really pleasant.
it's really yeah.
Yeah, you're
It's,
right. Like,
it's caramely. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
caramely. It's grainy. It's cereal.
yeah, those are probably the two prominent flavors there is the cereal and that kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little maple.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that may just be the way I'm,
No, there's a certain sweetness to it that isn't typical, and maple would probably be a good way of putting it.
maybe burnt sugar.
Yeah, I think
Maybe
that's burnt sugar.
maybe that's more accurate.
Yeah, I agree.
Like a caramel, like burnt sugar. That really deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're scraping it off the bottom of a pan. Or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where it's gone beyond what's palatable to, oh crap, I've got to clean this pan.
To the point where I'm throwing this pan away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's give this one a whirl.
Mm-hmm. It's tannic.
Very tannic.
Immediately, you feel like it's drawing some of the moisture away from your mouth. It's hot. It's
Yeah, it's a little spicy on the back end. I'm really picking up those caramel notes through this.
I agree.
I mean, and it's caramel. It's
Yeah.
it's not butterscotch. It's not vanilla. It's caramel.
So interestingly, based on the description and all that, and the fact that they use staves from Islay, this doesn't come across as anything the least bit related to Scotch, in my opinion. This to me tastes more like what you would get out of a rye or certain bourbons maybe.
Right. Well, you can definitely tell that this isn't made with barley.
Yeah,
This is not a barley.
there is something to the nose that I'm picking up on that reminds me, is a bit reminiscent of what you would get out of Islay, but it's not upfront and overwhelming like you would expect from a peated Islay whiskey.
This is really pleasant.
I like it, I gotta say.
It really is that caramel.
Yeah, and it actually handles the alcohol pretty well. I mean, look, it's stout, but there's a lot there as far as flavors go.
This is fun. This one is really fun.
Yeah, I keep going back to that burned sugar. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is a perfect descriptor for that.
This is
I gotta say.
this is a find. This is
Yeah.
a real find.
Oh, at that price, that's
Yeah,
cool.
at $40. And I'm a little concerned that there's only 6,600 bottles of this out there.
That's a shame.
That is a
That
shame
is a
because
disservice to their customers, because that deserves to be out there in volume.
Well, my guess is that they're going to do this in batches. I mean, it's probably a small distillery.
Well, and I
There's
mean,
probably a batch. Probably be a different batch next year.
how often can they get staged? Is the other question.
Oh yeah, that could be. and that may be harder to come by here. Certainly with
with what's going
travel
on.
restrictions.
Yeah, because I mean the distilleries in Scotland have been shut down pretty much the entire time this COVID thing's going on, which means nothing's coming out of barrels, which means you're not getting staged.
Yeah.
I could see that being a problem, but man, this is
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, this is going to be one that I'm going to go back to often.
Yeah, I can see that. It's not what I expected. It's not what I pictured in the least bit. It's hot as far as alcohol is concerned, which that's easy to figure out. But the flavors are completely different than I was expecting. Good find, man. Both of them.
I know.
Both of them make you think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and again, try and single malts or even blended malts and American whiskeys and Japanese. There's Icelandic ones.
Oh,
there's Scandinavian. They're all, and all of these are single malts. And the only thing that stops some of these from being Scotch is that they're not brewed in Scotland.
Right, exactly. And it is interesting to get other people's take on it. Just to see how they handle it. I mean, that's nothing like a Scotch.
Absolutely. Well, and also the American weather is so much different than the Scottish weather.
Agreed.
So the time that's spent in the barrels and everything really, brings something new to the table.
Well, and think about it. We've had the 18 years. None of them had a color like that. Not one of them. And that's that mild climate that you get in Scotland. So that time in cask takes some of the burn of the alcohol away, but it doesn't impart that kind of color. Here in the U.S., with our warm temperatures and then our cold temperatures, you get the color quick, you get the flavor quick, but it just doesn't take that alcohol burn out.
Right. And being in Indiana, too, I mean, they have such wild temperature swings, that the time spent in the barrel can really, the contraction and expansion in the barrel, really, is really rapid.
Well, then the agitation from the tornadoes. I'm sure that adds to it, too.
Absolutely.
Is that considered angel share?
Yeah. Wonder if they spent any time in Oz.
Yeah, right. I gotta say, I really like that. That's not what I expected going into it, but I'm pleasantly surprised and really like it.
I drank most of this, and I wanted to try it with a drop of water.
Oh boy, I bet that lights up.
Oh yeah. All right, let me just do a little bit. Okay. All right, let's throw a drop of water in this and see what that brings to the table.
I imagine that's going to bring a hell of a lot of spice. Although it didn't spend a whole lot of time in a cask, so maybe not.
Maybe not. Doesn't change the nose significantly. I'm getting more of that caramel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still very caramel. Spicier. Much spicier.
Yep.
But I'm getting a little less alcohol.
Getting something on the exhale that I wasn't getting before. When you exhale through your nostrils and it gets up into your sinuses? I'm getting kind of a floral thing like what you get with some American whiskeys.
Yeah, maybe it's the peat. Maybe it's bringing out a little bit of that floral. It's not like a heather note or anything like that. So,
no.
but there's definitely a floral note in it now.
Interesting. Yeah, this is the fact that they use staves from Islay is the part that's kind of twisting me a little bit. Because going into it, I expected a certain thing based off of that, but what I'm getting is not what I expected. But I mean, when you think about it, so ex-bourbon goes to Ireland. They then use it for Scotch whiskey, which has peat and so on and so forth, and then gets sent over here. So I would imagine that you're not getting much of the bourbon influence left in those staves.
No, probably not.
And I wonder how much of what has been aged in there. I mean, how long did they age those? How long have those casks been in circulation? It's an interesting thing.
It's complex. I mean, you can really spend an evening trying to figure that one out.
Well, and the other thing to consider is, okay, so they're sourcing staves from Islay, but how do you get consistent batches based off of that? The staves are from how many casks, and how long were those casks used?
Right.
Each cask may be a bit different, so maybe they get some casks that were 5 years, maybe they get some that were 20-something years, and I mean, how much influence is that going to have? So how do they get consistency with what they're doing in this bottle? And maybe that's why they do small batches. That is, I like that. I think it's really cool somebody actually did that. I like what it did to what's in the bottle there. Thoroughly enjoy that one.
I do too. What's nice is I got a really nice warmth on that one.
Yeah.
So and it's staying with me.
That the alcohol speaking?
Yeah, it could be. It could be. But it's a nice warmth. That's
Yeah.
And I'm feeling really pleasant.
That's a good one. I mean, we've had what was the one that we were using before that Scott gave you?
Oh, the Old West.
Old West.
Old West.
Okay, so that I see being a very good. It's on par with that or a replacement for that. I think that's on a similar level.
Absolutely, and the Old West is a rye, and it's one that we've come to really, really dig.
I agree. It changed my opinion of ryes, to be honest with you.
It really did. Yeah, and we've tried a couple other ryes, but we keep going back to that one, and that one was really, really spectacular. What I'm curious about is if we try that one against the Stranahans.
Oh, that's a good point.
Now, this Stranahans was is an American whiskey brewed in Colorado,
and that was a single malt, though.
It's a single malt.
But it's an American single
It's
malt.
an American single malt.
So similar situation. I think that one was aged a little longer than this one, though.
I think that was like a 4-year. Yeah, it was 4 years. So I mean, the only thing that kept it from being Scotch was,
it wasn't made in Scotland.
It wasn't made in Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, it literally met all the criteria. Where this one they strayed from it a little bit, but
And aged for 1 year, but I swear that it was aged much longer than that.
yeah.
It really has a lot of complexity to it.
It really does. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Well, that goes back to age not being everything, and we keep coming back to that. And that's not, look, we've had some 18s that are friggin' amazing. But we've also had some younger whiskeys that have been really good, and new make whiskey and younger whiskey bring something different to the table that you just can't get out of another whiskey.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Age isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly the distiller's vision on this is has a lot to play in this. They're going for a specific flavor palette, and like we've our friends over at Brewplotic, our friends at Jour.
Yeah.
They're putting out some amazing whiskeys.
Well, and think about it. You mentioned how young this guy is, being one of the youngest people out there doing this, especially winning awards. Imagine what he's going to come up with next. I mean, if this is kind of the beginning stages of where he's going, I kind of like it.
Yeah, this is going to be one. This is
It'll be
a
one to
distillery to kind of keep your eye on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we go to Indiana on occasion. I might have to see if we can swing by that.
Yeah, Henry, if you're out there,
yeah, go find this.
For us,
please.
Yeah.
There might be some money or something. I'll throw you a couple bucks, whatever. Just
whatever,
dude. That's amazing.
All right, absolutely. All right, well, guys. All right, what are we going to do next week?
That's a good question. I was thinking kind of a BS session.
All right. Yeah.
We've talked about having Henry back on, and each of us brings something different to the table.
Okay.
And just kind of talking about where this journey's taken us and some of our observations of the journey. I mean, not getting too serious, don't get me wrong. Don't want to be Captain Buzzkill or anything, but at the end of the day, we've all kind of taken something away from this and perhaps learned a few things, and it'd be interesting to discuss and kind of brag on one another about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we've really enjoyed this journey. I mean, we started this not long ago. We've tried a lot of whiskeys. I think you said the list.
The spreadsheet is impressive.
The spreadsheet is pretty impressive. I think we were up over 50 whiskeys that we've tried and rated, and played with, and that's been fantastic. And we've got a lot more to go. That's for sure.
And you know, looking at that spreadsheet, once you mentioned that, I went back and looked through it, and it's like, oh crap, we really have done that. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not like we've killed a bunch of bottles. And
No.
the cool thing is each one of those kind of expanded our palate a little bit, so now we have a better appreciation and can pick out things that we didn't before.
That's a good point. I mean, really, there's a spectrum out there. I mean, we're trying things, you know, and you know, the more we try, the more it really, you know, we're figuring out kind of where it falls. You know what our tasting notes are. What, you know, the things that jazz us.
Yeah.
You know, they're similar, but they're a little different. Certainly, you and I, you know, have slightly different, you know,
Agreed.
Notes with the whiskeys, and that's fun to try because every journey on this is just unique, and your journey is going to be unique too. And we encourage you to get out there and explore.
Especially some of the more oddball, harder to find stuff. I mean, I'm not calling these oddball, but look, these are both really different.
Yeah, they really
and they're
are.
really cool. Just because it's different. You may not want to have it every night, but it's worth trying.
Absolutely.
Just for comparison to what you're used to see what else is out there, to see what people are bringing to the table. And maybe it broadens your horizons and changes your palate a little bit. Maybe you decide you want to stray a little bit from the norm.
Yeah, and we've said this before. I mean, we're not whiskey snobs.
No.
I mean, we're not, we're not stuck on single malts. We're not even stuck on Scotch all the time. But certainly, the best whiskey the best whiskey is the one you're drinking, and the way you drink it. So, please, send us some feedback. Let us know what you're drinking. Let us know what jazzes you. And we certainly are open to suggestions, and we've got some pretty good sources for getting bottles.
Yeah.
We're not quite to the $500 bottle whiskeys yet, but certainly if there's something really interesting out there, we're willing to go after it.
I agree. I will say that based on our experience thus far, it's going to take something special. We've had so many different ones at this point. How do you narrow in on just one is the tough part for me at the moment, because again, each of them is so unique. But yeah, like Mark said, thanks for joining us. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and you guys participating and watching really helps make it fun for us. We'd be doing this regardless, don't get me wrong, but we certainly appreciate your participation and some of the smart aleck comments that we get in the live stream.
We love that, actually.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun to read, I gotta admit.
Yeah, rag on us. I mean, we're certainly not experts.
Yeah, we're just here to have fun and hopefully give you a little bit of information.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we love all you. So you drink responsibly.
Thanks for joining us.
And we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.
Okay, bye.